We're live. It is Thursday, June 26, 2025. Intern is on time, technically on time. We were almost on time today. It is great to be here. Going to be an awesome Monad in the morning. We've got a couple special guests coming on later in the show. We're going to bring up Perrine from the Monad founder community team here at Monad Foundation, as well as Karma, who leads all things NFTs. Both our guests are live in person here in New York, so should be an awesome day. Intern cracking the Red Bull. How we feeling?
Doing a little ode to Danny Pipelines today.
I'm on
the Red Bull is Danny Pipelines thing.
I think so, dude. He's got to be the biggest Red Bull guy that I know. It's an ode to Danny Pipelines. Danny's been crushing all around today, so a little Red Bull crack in the morning. There you go.
Appreciate
drinking
it.
a Celsius.
Yeah, I got the Celsius today. I'm not super hot on this one. This one's the retro vibe. The can is very cool, but
What flavor is it?
retro vibe. It doesn't. Oh, sparkling sherbet slush. It's a little sweet for 10 a.m. in the morning, but what are you gonna do? Gets me fired up.
I kind of chose. I'm not a 10 a.m. Red Bull is like crazy to me in general, but today I kind of choose based on amount of active ingredient, and this had the right amount of caffeine for what I was going for. So figured that plus a little Danny Pipeline inspiration. That's all we got.
There we go.
I'm drinking protein that tastes like elk hide. So
There we go. There we go.
terrible.
I had that before. That was my little ode to Jessup.
Yeah, that's a gritty way to start the day.
That's
For
no
sure.
flavor. It literally tastes like elk hide.
Speaking of starts, something started this past week on the Monad main account. Little mainnet tease.
Oh, the when.
When?
So this was, I wanted to make sure. Some people did not understand that reference, and it made me
That's
feel
crazy. First,
It
of
made
all.
me feel both sad and old. That was SBF copy pasta. Honestly, one of the most well-known crypto Twitter threads, maybe the most well-known crypto Twitter thread of all time. I implore anyone who does not know what it is to just go type into your Twitter search bar from : no space at SBF_FTX 1 space what. Go check out that thread. I mean, the lore surrounding it. This guy, the entire world was imploding on him. And he just decides to go schizo on Twitter and post this thread spelling out happened over the course of like 30 hours. And then the final conclusion to that was actually, we'll get to what happened, but let's talk about where we are now. We're like, dude, this guy's just out of his mind.
I remember watching that unfold in real time. It was such a weird time to be in crypto. There had been like 2 years of pure euphoria leading up to that moment that I don't think anyone in the space had ever experienced previously, despite like the cyclical ups and downs that you get in crypto. That was crazy peaks and then a crazy valley, but there was light at the end of the tunnel. That was the week that the Monad Discord opened, and a few short months after that I first heard about Monad, and definitely rekindled some hope for the space. And fast forward a couple very long years, and we're inching towards mainnet.
That was also sneaky hidden lore, which I don't know if has ever been released, but yeah, Keone opened the Discord that week, before that happened. And then I talked to Keone the week after that about working with Monad. So a lot of things happened in that period.
What was the roughly around the date when that was happening?
November.
So the tweet I believe is November 11. I talked to Keone the week after that. I think the Discord opened, I don't know, a few days before, a week before. But
Okay, that checks out then, because I don't remember a lot of it, and it was because I was in a hospital dying. So that
oh my God, what happened there, Joseph?
Well, I had the spine infection. So
Those will get you. Those will get you.
So that makes a whole lot more sense.
Yeah,
Um,
if you want to learn more about Jessup's spine infection, he has a genuinely a banger video posted on or pinned on his Twitter and also on YouTube as well. So that's a cool one to check out, despite the seriousness of that.
we did drop the
situation.
when. I know that whoever tunes into the beginning of the pipeline episodes, those are really the core fans, and that's why I feel like we can say things that we don't normally say elsewhere. We'll have some updates around that thread. There will be at least a smidgen of information dropped in the near future, and
Smidgen.
yeah, just a little dollop of information right on top,
Sprinkled in there.
sprinkled on, yeah. But I would expect, if you are in the Monad community, if you follow anything Monad related, if you've been around since 2023 specifically, you probably remember there have been some massive pendulum swings in the amount of attention that Monad captures on the timeline. And November 2023 to March 2024 was the first massive blow up. We actually joke that's when I stopped writing every single tweet for the Monad main account, and intern Bra, my little brother, took over. And then if you look at the date intern Bra took over, it just hockey sticks. But it's because parallel EVM became the talk of the town. Everyone was looking into that. Monad had been building it for a little over a year at that point. And so they're like, oh, this is the thing. Monad blew up. All the attention and all of crypto flew to Monad. Then you see kind of a slow, steady decline, probably in natural attention from people who aren't Monad community members, just your general crypto enthusiast. And then into testnet launch, swing the pendulum back. We have about 2 months of build up to that, to where it is the talk of the town again. We got a massive all-time high in attention on Monad. Testnet happens, that sustains for about 1-2 months, and then we see a similar type of falling to the back, where the community is paying attention, builders are paying attention, but your general crypto commentator is not. For anyone who's watching now, I would expect this to kind of be that first moment where the pendulum is going to start to swing, and we are going to see crazy all-time highs on the attention side. I would imagine engagement for posts talking about Monad is going to start going through the roof. And yeah, we'll have more information on exactly what that attention scope will look like, but it is pretty well mapped out, and I'm very excited for what we have coming for you guys in the near future.
I think there's going to be an interesting, I don't know if byproduct is the right word, but we're going to stick with it. There might be an interesting byproduct from, the attention that we see over the next couple months around Monad. There's this, if you put it on a graph, right? Monad's attention kind of ebbs and flows with time, but generally trends upwards, as you would expect with a startup getting closer to product launch and more things happening, more stuff on the marketing front, more on the community front. But this byproduct is also going to be more attention on ecosystem apps, and particularly those ecosystem apps that are creating a great user experience, putting out something that's net new on Monad that's maybe not possible elsewhere. So I think that's going to be a really cool dynamic, as well as we see, actual live products, either, deploying on the back half of testnet or, mainnet itself. And, the ecosystem truly opening up for that activity is going to be pretty fun, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one thing I was at Permissionless yesterday, at a panel. Keone also had an awesome talk. I recommend going and checking out the Permissionless live stream. I believe he's the last 30 minutes of it. Really, really good breakdown. But someone was asking me, there were actually 3 VCs who were asking me what the thing that I'm most excited for, what's an underrated aspect of Monad when it goes live. And one that I think not a lot of people are talking about, but to me is one of the most true things, is all of a sudden there's going to be this live EVM environment, which is faster and cheaper than anything else that has ever existed. And when that happens, you're going to be able to swap ERC20 token for ERC20 token more efficiently than anywhere else in the entire crypto ecosystem. There's a lot of byproducts that come from that, sticking with your word, Danny.
Byproducts.
Yeah. One, so like if you think about this island where you can trade much faster, much cheaper, spreads will be smaller, your execution will be better, liquidity should be higher. Anyone who goes to make a big swap, say you go to an aggregator and you want to swap Ethereum for USDC. And they're like, I just go to an aggregator and click sell $100,000 worth of ETH. It can route to a lot of different places. Right now, most aggregators, they can swap just right on ETH mainnet. If the transaction's large enough and there's more liquidity on an L2, it will actually bridge, swap, and send the funds back. Recommend looking into Intents for anyone who's a little confused about how that works. Because L2s are more efficient than ETH mainnet for a swap. All of a sudden, Monad is going to be the most efficient place. If you do a large swap like that, the most efficient place for that swap to happen is Monad. So I predict a lot of aggregators will start routing flow for general swaps, even if you hold the tokens on ETH mainnet, through Monad. And as that flow starts to route, market makers will come in to take that flow and arbit against centralized exchanges. That will bring spreads closer, making it even more efficient. So then instead of the $100,000 order, now $50,000 orders get routed over because the bridge cost is small enough that it makes sense to route. And then you're going to get this liquidity flywheel where it's just going to turn into all execution for swapping ERC20s is just more efficient to do on Monad. So I think aggregators are going to play a massive role in a lot of the initial volume that we see on Monad.
Very, very interesting insights. Love the use of byproducts. Fantastic. I'm curious if you have perspective on whether this brings new traders, new institutions into crypto, specifically because the trading environment is just much more efficient. Like, do people now or companies now look at this and say like, okay, now I'm gonna trade on chain, or like now I might get involved in this as a result, as a byproduct.
So yeah, I think you will see there's kind of two groups, right? One, someone that doesn't know that Monad is actually facilitating the swap under the hood, and people that do know that they're trading on Monad. And so mainnet's going to launch. A ton of people are going to come in to try it, test it out, see what all the buzz is about. Like, they've heard about this project for a while. They just want to see what it is. So they're going to go directly on Monad and swap. They know that Monad is the blockchain that is facilitating the transaction. I think that the most underrated part are the people that don't know that Monad is going to be doing the swap under the hood. And so an institution, for example, like they probably understand the different chains. They're like, Solana's fast, but it's SVM. Most of the money sits on Ethereum, and then L2s are kind of, and so, but if they want to go do a swap, they'll just go to an aggregator, like the cleanest place to do that swap, and just hit trade. Right. And that flowing through Monad, that is kind of the unlock that I think most people don't get. Most people have a good understanding. Oh, if I'm on Monad and I'm doing a swap, maybe it goes through essentially my order book. If it's a long tail asset, it'll go through an AMM. But so, yeah, those two groups are very important. I think as the back end, the blockchain gets more and more abstracted, that works in Monad's benefit because more flow will actually go to Monad because the environment itself is just more efficient than anything else that exists.
Yeah, I was kind of getting at that second group, but I guess you're saying it's almost like subconscious in a sense, or not subconscious, but not like really intentional, where the decision is like, oh, now Monad is, performant and enabling all this activity, so I'm going to go directly trade there. But it is like a byproduct, like, right, because it's easier, more people will trade on chain, more institutions will trade on chain, whether they specifically know or acknowledge what chain they're trading on doesn't really matter.
Right. You can almost think about it like, imagine Verizon got a really big upgrade. And now all of a sudden, like, your videos load faster. Twitter, you can just do, like, You just notice that things are better. You don't really know what's happening.
Right.
Oh, it's on this new tower. That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Like people who are in the know will be like, oh, yeah, well, there's more bandwidth now because either new technology existed or we created more towers. But your normal user is just like, oh, things load faster. This is faster. And in this case, for trading, it's like, this is cheaper. I'm getting better execution. The aggregators will do all of that work behind the scenes.
That is a solid analogy.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
Because like in reality, like it'll still work. Like if you're not on a 5G, like it defaults to the other technology and it still functions, but it's going to always try to optimize for what's fastest. And so you don't know which one, but it's going to always kick to the right one, right?
5G is actually a really good analogy because when they started building 5G towers, you go to where the most people are. And so they build them in New York and Chicago and kind of major cities. And then they expand out from there. That's almost like trading on the central limit order book, where the major assets have enough liquidity and volume where a central limit order book makes sense. If you go into more rural areas, like the middle of Wyoming, they won't have 5G, but they still have LTE, right? They'll have 4G. That's kind of like trading whatever the long tail list of shit coins. Those will still be better on an AMM because you're not going to have market makers quoting, I don't know, name KB's favorite shit coin. Like it doesn't matter. So like the vast majority is not covered by 5G by area, but the vast majority of trades in this analogy, people in the 5G analogy will be covered by this more efficient thing. So there's a small number of assets that will trade through that, but those are the assets that have the most volume that market makers can make money on that people want to swap back and forth.
Beautiful. Beautiful. That was talking byproducts, a great segment. We'll have to bring that back. Definitely want to hit on some updates on the monad side of things in general, but I think we got to spin the wheel.
Yeah, hammer that.
Let's spin the wheel. I know we've got a lot of the community in the chat here. We're gonna have to figure out how we're gonna select our winner. While we
the chat has been going crazy and arguing about whether or not I'm bald or not.
I know that's what I was about to say.
You might have to take the cap off.
So they've been asking that. So I think we'll see. We'll see if we can hit like a certain number of views or something before I take the hat off.
All right. Well, let's view Max, and if you get your friends in here, then Jessup will take his hat off and show you whether he's actually bald or not.
Okay.
Let's see. How are we gonna pick a winner?
So we're having some issues with this HDMI cable and angle, as you can see there. So we might have to have you switch that over to that side.
Oh, no problem at all.
Adapting on the fly.
Look at that.
It would not be we are 100% on making sure that there's at least one technical difficulty for the super fans out there. They expect it. We need to make sure it's there for them.
Yeah, it can't be too good. If it's too good, then what do you do next week?
Then it stinks. How can you get better?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. All right. Let's pick somebody. Why don't we just go and say, drop a comment on the Pipeline's Twitter for this live stream that you are all tuned in on right now. Go drop a comment that makes me healthier, wealthier, wiser, probably not wealthier. But yeah, drop some comment of value, of substance, and we'll pick someone who drops a good comment. I'm gonna pull up my Twitter notifications here. We'll do a couple spins. So
I'm not. Oh wait, they're replying to the tweet.
Yeah.
Nice.
Replying to the
Reply
tweet.
with your final alpha to the tweet. And
shout out Vic Rue. Really followed the instructions. Might have to pick him as the winner for this. He just said, "Stay healthy, dear Danny." Thanks, Vic Rue. You too. I appreciate it. That's awesome. Yeah, we're gonna spin for Vic Rue. Got to do it.
I just want to shout out, like, the comments have been really funny today.
in the chat.
Yeah, they've just been pretty good.
Love it. Love it. Oh, looks like Ruben says it's his birthday. So happy birthday, Ruben.
Happy birthday, Ruben.
We're gonna spin for Vikru.
For your birthday, we're spinning for Vikru.
Yeah, exactly. Happy birthday, Ruben. We're gonna spin for Vikru. All right, let's do it. Without further ado.
And follow.
Wow.
Stay healthy, Vikru.
Stay healthy, Vikru. 0xvikrew. Picking up the main account follow on a Thursday.
You want to spell that one more time, Dan?
0xvikrew. And you know what? If you're tuning in, go throw Vikru a follow.
So Vikru has been the one who is doing all the like crazy weird cosplay costumes that have been kind of, some of them are going viral.
Oh yeah, this one's crazy.
Yeah. But then so he won a it was like a 15-minute strategy call with me, and we did a call, and I was telling him he needs to go on Omegle and dressed as some of these. Just like, I'm like, dude, that content would rip.
Honestly, that's like,
wait, this is him?
Yeah.
That's unreal.
Oh my God.
And then like keep scroll, that's him.
But I think like
he makes all of those.
So we've been talking about this general theme quite a bit lately, that like no one can really tell you what to do, whether you're like looking for a job, looking for an opportunity in a community, looking to just grow your social media profile and an online persona. Like you just have to go out and try things and do something that's unique. And Vikru is definitely doing just that. These are
epic.
Yeah.
Could you imagine that on Omegle? Like just popping up and seeing that, and you're like, what?
Dude, you might have to like tweet some of these off, man.
Well,
these are so good.
Well, that's kind of like the second point that I wanted to get to, which is basically like, if you're doing something cool, then it'll likely have it'll likely have some resonance. So you'll pick up like that traction relatively organically. So you don't need to be like, hey, look at my thing, look at the thing that I'm doing, because you know, if you're differentiated, if you're doing something unique, then you're going to stand out anyway. And this is a perfect example because I've actually seen a bunch of Vikru's posts, but I didn't even know until right now that it was Vikru. So very happy that we picked Vikru for the spin to win this morning.
And I don't know if he wants this out there, but he's very young. Like, which is even crazier. So
thanks for putting it out there.
Well, I didn't say his exact age.
No,
but
I know. I'm just teasing.
That's what I think is even crazier, is like he's doing all this and grinding, and he's young, and it kind of goes on the theme that we met some very young builders last week, and it's like age is not your limitation at all.
Yeah. Oh, certainly not. And I think we're going to get some interesting perspective on this when Perrine joins us on the stream in a couple minutes. For those who haven't met Perrine or followed Perrine, he is the founder community lead here at Monad Foundation, and spent, you know, the last week and a half working hands-on with teams in the ecosystem, really providing that gritty feedback, that
just cracking the whip. Yeah,
that we all kind of need to level up in some way, shape, or form. And it's always helpful if you get someone to help steer that car in the right direction. So excited to have Perrine come on in a couple minutes. I see Sovan and Diego dropping his Twitter in the chat. So go follow Perrine. And also we're going to do a little bit of an AMA. So if you have any questions for Perrine, start thinking of them now. Don't drop them in the chat just yet, because he's not here just yet, but we will get to that in a couple minutes. And then after Perrine comes on, we are going to bring back the community's favorite segment, or one of the community's favorite segments, and that is Mint Conditions with Karma. Ooh. However, this time it's going to be in person.
I wish I had a soundboard. Like, that would have been a great time.
Yeah. We need like an ASMR soundboard.
I mean, I was thinking just like,
yeah.
Well, like lightning strike.
We can manually do the soundboard.
talking about leveling up. These are things that we can implement in the coming weeks and months. Speaking of the Foundry, there's been a ton of events going on in the studio here in New York. And I think some people have found the studio's Twitter account at the studio_XYZ. But awesome workspace here in New York that's been set up specifically for the Monad ecosystem. It's really valuable for startup teams to have the opportunity to get together in person, get some feedback from us here at Monad Foundation, as well as VCs and other folks from across the ecosystem. So very, very excited about the studio. More and more events are popping up in the studio space. We had the Foundry in there for the entirety of last week with Permissionless this week. I believe we've got 2 events in the studio space and many more to come throughout the rest of the summer, not just in the studio, but globally as well.
I think there's a community Greece meetup, if I'm not mistaken. People are very John W. Rich Kid is going.
I'm FOMOing that.
Karma's going.
Yep.
Dubs is going.
I think it's Dubs' first ever in-person anything.
Goodness gracious.
Oh my goodness. You guys are in for a treat.
So is he.
He is in for an absolute treat. I'm going to hit the bathroom before Preen comes on because I don't want to miss a single second of the wisdom that he's about to spit. Nicknamed the Guru for very good reason. I'll be back in a minute.
All right. Well, let's see. We've got a couple updates on the community side of things that most people tuning in here are probably already aware of. And I don't think there's too much to talk about on this front, but I know everyone's been enjoying the Community Recognizer app. Pretty straightforward. You go on and you see which community members you recognize and which community members you don't recognize. We also had NADSA all over the timeline, which I think is a gated community experience. I'm not sure exactly how much alpha we can disclose on that front, but there's a lot of cool stuff happening in the Monad community. Oh, yes. So Jessup is reminding me that PopNad went out and did something really cool, which is exactly what we love to see from the community. PopNad heard us, I think it was me, just throw out a random comment on Monad in the Morning pretty recently that, hey, Monad, pretty fast chain, pretty performant. Would be pretty cool to get all of the Twitch comments on chain. And PopNad built exactly that. So I don't have the link in front of me right now, but
I'm sure the chat.
Someone who knows
PopNad is in there. So
drop it in the chat. I think Pratik's just dropped it in there. So yeah, I mean, just another example of people going out and building cool things. I'm pretty sure that was fully vibe coded. So shout out PopNad. Very cool. Very cool. Now Monad in the Morning comments can be on chain forever, immutable. That's pretty cool.
So all these crazy comments are all now on chain.
Yeah. Imagine that. Incredible.
But where could that be done anywhere else?
Yeah, I don't really know. Certainly not in a performant, decentralized fashion. I don't know if the economics line up for mainnet as well as they do for testnet with, paying a gas fee to drop your comment. But, maybe that's kind of like a quality control filter that streamers could implement at some point down the road. Like I think it's like pretty hard for a big streamer like Speed, for example, to actually engage with his chat because there's so many people in the chat. It goes so rapid fire the entire time he's streaming. So it's just like pick out one chat here, one chat there. But if you could actually pay to comment, then, you know, people are incentivized to comment more important things.
You could pay for the amount of time that no one can comment after you. And so say like I'm on I Show Speed's thing, I pay $100 and my comment's the only one that shows for 20 seconds. You pay $200, maybe you get 30 seconds.
That's a cool idea.
What about that idea? Who's building that?
We're just given startup ideas. Maybe that's not a startup in itself, but it's at least a feature.
Yeah. I mean, it's like just things that are cool, and that's kind of, I think, what it's the snowball effect of you start building these cool things that people use, and then figure out where it applies.
Well, it certainly helps him monetize the audience too. I can imagine paying for an ad where it's like he's streaming, you know, he's going to do some big thing, and you're like $50,000, and you're the only comment that shows for like 15 minutes or something.
Yeah,
it goes straight to speed too.
It's interesting. Acer Blade commented that this is kind of flawed, though, because big brands would just use it as advertisements. But I think that's the point. Like, it doesn't have to be a big brand.
But does that then kill? Like, say I'm a viewer, it might kill my, like, that's part of the fun, right? Like, all of these guys are literally in the chat right now talking with us, and that's what's fun. And
just have a separate one. You have the chat flying on one side, and then there's the paid side.
Yeah.
You could also fix. Who said that? Acer Blade.
Yeah.
Acer Blade. You could fix that. Do you use a little bit of math? Come on. You make it logged. It's like, all right, maybe $100 gets you 20 seconds, but maybe to get the next 20 seconds, it's like $400. If you want a full minute, $800. Come on, there's way you can figure that out. That's a small thing to hold you back. That's not a reason not to start.
But I think that's the thing. Kind of a big theme of last week was like just ship things, because, you know, we could sit here and speculate on how it's going to work and how things are going to be received and stuff. But like, you don't start actually solving the problems if you don't put it out there and people start giving you feedback immediately, so that you can actually figure out how to implement it. Like, maybe there is an algorithm that works that benefits the advertiser or the person paying it, as well as the viewers, and keeps the viewership on there and fun for the viewers that can't afford to pay for it. And yeah, I mean, I think it's about having those ideas, shipping fast, putting it out there, and then, you know, some of them aren't going to work. Some of them are going to be like, damn, that was a good idea in theory, but
yeah, does
not
anyone
in practice.
So I would imagine this would only work if Twitch did it natively. You can't send everyone off platform and go to this other thing.
Right.
It would have to be Twitch, and they would probably implement that. They could take a cut from whatever. It's just revenue generation. Does anyone have a contact at Twitch? I would like to talk to them about this idea. I think it actually has some legs. We're building on the fly here.
Building on the fly, just as we like it. I'm going to go see if Perrine is ready to hop on with us here at Monad in the Morning. While I do so, maybe you guys want to run a spin or 2 spins?
We could run a spin. We can talk about Jessup's new workout routine as we kill time as well.
Occam's protocol.
The Colorado experiment.
So
what's Occam's protocol?
So Occam's protocol is based off of the Colorado experiment.
Oh, okay.
So it's essentially, it's like a minimalist approach, and you know this.
It's for the show.
Yeah. It's the minimalist approach to exercising, right? It's like you doing the you're I don't know how would you explain it? It's like
you're doing the least amount of effort for the most amount of reward.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's funny because I did one on Monday, and I laughed at, and I literally asked ChatGPT, I'm like, I'm super skeptical, because like, I feel like I didn't do anything in the same, you're just like doing very minimal amount.
Mm-hmm.
It's still like a ton of tension, because you do 5 seconds push, 5 seconds pull,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, yeah, the entire time you're under tension and you go to failure. So it's like really heavy, but just it's one set.
Yeah. I mean, look, I feel like maybe 10 years ago, I did so much research, try to learn everything. And it takes a lot of time to actually like understand the fundamentals of everything that's happening. And then once you get to that point, then you kind of understand what actually matters, what doesn't, and you can cut it and make your own Occam's protocol.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm like, all right, eat a lot of protein, try not to eat a bunch of carbs unless you want to, but like generally try not to. And then try to just go to the gym and do what you like to do to exercise as many days a week as possible. And that's kind of it. Like, I don't think there's any magic to it. It's like, just do the thing. And then you got to just do it. Just ship
do the
it.
thing?
Just
Yeah.
ship it. Speaking of just shipping it, we have Mr. Just Ship It himself joining us on stream today. I believe it's a first appearance for
First
Kareem.
appearance.
And there we go.
Grab a seat here.
Okay.
We got the vocal soundboards
The
going on.
microphones are pretty sensitive, so you want to be generally pretty close.
Yeah.
But hey, great to
Thank
have
you.
you on Monad in the morning.
Thank you.
Hey,
having me.
Fareen.
Wow, this feels different than watching it.
Hopefully
There's
in
a lot
good
of
way.
lights.
Oh, of course, in a good way.
Yeah. Well, we got to spin because we did say we were going to do some spins while Danny was stepping out and getting you. So we'll give you the honor of spinning.
All right. So
Okay.
how this works is we pick a live viewer in the chat, we spin, and we give them a prize.
Awesome.
And that's about it.
But
I
we
don't
gotta-
know if we picked yet.
We have not picked. So
Okay.
I think we go with trivia this time.
Cool.
I don't know, Preen, if there's anything that jumps out to you as like a trivia question. As guests, you always have first honors. If it's hard to think of something good, then feel free to pass it along. But if you have a trivia question that might
I
be
don't
like
know.
kind of hard to get, but
I'm-
not too hard.
I would like to see if anyone knows where Keone grew up.
Where did Keone grow up? All right,
Does
chat.
anyone know? Or is this common knowledge?
I mean, it's in a 60-second podcast. So
Okay. All right. The information is available.
Oh,
Not seeing it yet. New York, Poland,
Poland.
Greece, Vietnam, Malaysia. Oh,
Wow.
oh.
Who? Where'd you see it?
So many people don't know.
No. Where's? going
Whoa,
way
whoa,
too
whoa.
fast.
Daddy
So-
Abe Radio?
Yeah, but he didn't get it. Missed a letter.
Wait, really?
Do we count it?
Where?
Daddy Abe Radio. Oh, he commented it and corrected it.
Yep.
Carson City, Nevada, right?
Wow.
There you
Someone
go.
knows. Yes.
Someone knows. All right, Daddy Abe Radio.
Daddy Abe Radio getting his spin today for being a loyal 60-second podcast viewer. Let's see what we got.
50 push-ups. So Daddy Abraham gets to pick one of us to do 50 push-ups.
Oh my goodness.
Now I've got a hater.
I didn't even know that was on the wheel.
I did not know that was on the wheel.
I knew
either.
it was on the
I feel like
wrote
you
it.
put it on the wheel, so you have to. I feel
I think
like you have
I
to
think
do it.
I think Jessup is the push-ups guy
What?
today.
No, the first. Oh crap.
Yeah. All right,
Uh,
Jessup, how do you want me to move the camera to film your push-ups?
Dude, I thought it was for him to pick.
No. No. You put that up there. You take care of the request.
Jessup, it seems like the chat.
Oh jeez. All right.
Okay.
All right,
that's
you
awesome.
want me to move a camera? You want to do it on the table?
On the
table.
On the table would be the most entertaining outcome, I think. Here, we'll move these away. You got 50 push-ups coming at you live fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh jeez.
There we go.
That's perfect.
Nice.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
This is gonna have to be sets. That's so many push-ups.
Just count 20.
12,
30.
13, 49, 50,
Yeah.
16, 17, 18, 19, 20.
We'll put the other 30 on layaway.
Yep.
Okay.
That's
We'll give the triceps a break for a second. Nicely done.
admirable.
The issue is the last couple weeks I've had like a nerve impingement, which is messing with this arm.
I could
So-
hear the arm kind of cracking when you go up and
So
down.
this is the arm that is like a little sketchy. So
Well,
what do
there
I
we
have,
go.
30 more?
Mhm.
30 more on
Whew.
layaway
Yep.
as a byproduct of the pause.
That was
Had
not
to
part
do
of
it.
the Occam's protocol.
But this is Perreen's first ever monad in the morning. So Perreen, would love to start by introducing you to the monad community and kind of telling the story of what you were up to prior to monad, and then how you first heard about monad and ultimately joined the team.
Awesome. I think so. Essentially, I've been in Web3 since 2017. And before this, I was building an incubator out of India. The idea is to build a distributed network that supports great Web3 founders and figure out capital, advice, mentoring, uh, every kind of support, growth support that you guys provide to rest of the founders. I was running a residency last year in India that I do every year, and Keone, Shreyas, and Sangmo were there. Keone talked to the founders. We had 10 founders there living in a villa for 10 days, and he talked to them about Monad and how he looks at the industry and what kind of founders Monad needs. And a lot of learning was passed on. We got to talking, and then I realized that, hey, Monad is a very unique ecosystem, specifically because it's been built with this no shortcuts mindset, which is incredibly rare in crypto. I've been talking to almost every chain out there, and generally the mindset is let's acquire developers and let them do what they do and then forget about it, which is great if you want a lot of apps on your chain. That's awesome. But who sustains? Maybe one out of 1,000, they don't get enough support. So when I talked to Keone about this, he was like, hey, I think this is interesting. We should do something about it. So we ended up chatting for almost a month, and then I joined Monad. I think this is the first time when I was joining, we were discussing what should be the designation or what do we call this role, because it hasn't existed anywhere in any ecosystem. No one has ever done this before, which is to create a separate track for founders as opposed to developers. Developers are great. They build products, they need education, they need tech support, everything, but founders need a lot more resources and a lot more support, which is specialized. So we said, okay, let's just call it founder community lead. So that designation was made up because this role is super different. And this is the first time I think an ecosystem is trying to do something that's so unique in this industry. And I think we will have a lot more sustainable projects in Monad just because we are now attracting some really amazing founders, people who've sold businesses, people who've built large companies before, and they need this kind of support. So, yeah.
That's been honestly a common theme across the Monad Foundation as it's expanded over time. Like I think the majority of roles that exist at the foundation have been just created from thin air.
Yeah.
I remember like early on, there's some like dual role I forget in like 2023, and eventually we're like, let's just call it growth, and that like wasn't a thing that existed. Now there's like companies go out and hire for growth. I know like Danny on the media side, like I don't think that was really a thing. You might hire a contractor or like an influencer to create videos, and Danny's like be head of comms, basically like media, and just run with that. So I think it actually speaks to looking at the fundamentals, what actually matters, and then create the role that matters, and who cares what you name it after.
Exactly. No shortcuts here.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
actually doing things that make sense today, which is, I think the industry generally the bar is so low, people don't even think so much.
I have sorry.
Well, I just wanted to double click on an interesting statement that I think is worth unpacking. You talked about attracting the types of founders that Monad needs. What does that look like? What are the types of founders that Monad needs?
I think largely the industry needs. We have, let's say, today the industry has been around. At least Ethereum was ready in 2015. It's been 10 years. if I were to talk to my normie friends today, they ask me, hey, what is your industry doing beside token speculation? And now I have Polymarket, right? Okay, this is a product that everyone who's used Twitter knows about. They tend to predict elections before actually the result is out. We've seen this twice now. So it's one of the product. We don't have much else to show for. So this is what's missing in the industry. Internet did not take off because internet was a great technology. It took off because Facebook brought it to people and they said, hey, this is useful for you. I don't care if you understand what's going on in the background, what server we are using, nothing. So at Monad, we are looking at attracting founders who come with this mindset that I'm solving a real problem. Uh, Difficulty in this is that it takes 5 to 10 years to solve a real problem. Uh, Whereas token vesting ends in 4 years. So mostly the founders who've launched in 2017, 2021 cycles, uh, they've been making millions of dollars through launching tokens, which is not bad at all. Like, great, founders need money, they need to make money, they're taking a lot of risk. But after that, are you deploying that money? Are you sticking with the problem or the product that you built and making sure that it is driven to adoption? Or is just like, let me make a DAO out of it and give community the code and then something will happen? That's not how products are built. The bigger challenge here is to actually drive it to the market, not to just build a product. So at Monad now, we are focusing completely on growth. Even like Monad is an example of this. Evan and team have been doing growth. Keone and Bill have been building community before the testnet was live. So growth actually is that important, and this is something that's been missing in the industry. Saying, "Hey, I'm a developer. I built great products. This protocol is so cool. It's an innovation, but now no one's using it. So what do we do about this?"
Mm. We have there's two things I would love to hit on. One is Foundry, which happened last week. And the next coming up is the residency school.
Network school
Yeah,
residency.
the founder residency network school, which the tweet should be going out for shortly. So if you're watching, be sure to check out the tweet while it launches. But Pareen, something really cool happened last week, right? We had some program, or maybe I'll just let you kind of explain what happened with the last second change and then how the week played out. I think we would love to hear that.
Yeah, I think Tina already last week explained what happened. It's essentially we were sitting at night. We were thinking there are so many VCs. Like, I'm fascinated by the amount of support that Monad ecosystem can provide to founders. And there were going to be 45 teams here at the studio the next morning, and we don't know how to really provide meaningful support to people unless founders do something themselves, right? So what we said is, let's make it a competition, let's make it a challenge, and out of 45 teams, 5 teams get to present to 60 VCs, investors. I don't think anyone in the industry has had this big demo day till now, and Tina just did it impromptu. It was that cool that we just sort of emailed, and 60 investors from across the world, not just from New York, showed up. And what we did during that week is we canceled all the office hours. We canceled everything that was, just knowledge. There is a lot of knowledge on the internet. If you really want to learn as a founder, there's so much. There are founder primers that Monad Foundation team has written. So learning is always async. What's not is giving feedback on what you're doing, bringing focus to what founders should be doing right now, and ignoring distractions mostly. So last week, 4 days, Monday to Thursday, we did that with all of these teams. Everyone got an action item, very clear action item that, hey, this is your main bottleneck. If you solve this, you will 10x your startup immediately. And that was entire Monad Foundation team, including Eunice and Keone, spent hours with so many founders. It's fascinating to me that someone can do this in the first place. But The top 5 founders who were ready got to present in front of 60 VCs. And I think we will close enough checks here. So the point is, now let's identify who's really working hard, who's shipping, who's growing and focused on real metrics, and then support the hell out of them. So that's going to be the team: ship and retain. And if you do that, then Monad Foundation has virtually unlimited resources to give to you. We are there to support, but the main responsibility of these two things lies with the founder.
Mhm.
I think that advice applies, and we hit on this a little bit last week as well, but I think that advice applies well beyond being a founder. We talked last week about how, ship and retain is like something that could apply to a community member working on a project or an indie developer looking to hack something together. But the hardest version of that game is to truly, start a company, become a founder, and look to solve a problem like you mentioned on a 5 to 10 year time horizon. But I think that advice across the board is just valuable in general. And as we talked about just now and last week, Foundry was an awesome opportunity for those founders who do have the grit to come in, showcase their velocity of shipping, how hard they're working, stand out in the crowd and directly benefit as a result of that. And my understanding is that theme is going to carry on into the network school as well.
Yeah.
The founder residency. I don't know how much alpha we can share about the founder residency, but as much as we can, we like to, because those who tune into Monad in the mornings should get the alpha.
Oh, for sure. We'll give you the whole thing. Apart from maybe you will hear the details from the Monad Twitter account soon, but essentially this was less than 1 week. Actually, it was 4 days. We could do very little, and there were 45 teams. Incredibly hard to cater to all of them. We want to double down on people who are shipping and retaining, and make sure that we give significant amount of value to each one of them. It has to be game changing for these founders. So next residency is 2 weeks in person, living with each other and some of the Monad Foundation team members, uh, plus the same demo day. Maybe this time we'll double, and the target is at least 100 investors on the demo day. So it's a 1 week online residency where first week we set ground, we brief founders on what is to be done. Then 2 weeks you come stay with our team at network school. I think most people in crypto do know network school, started by Balaji. It's a private island in Malaysia, close to Singapore. And it's almost like the value proposition of that place is this is a place to lock in. So your food, your stay, gym, training, meditation sessions, a lot of these things are covered. All you have to do is make sure that you are focusing on your startup and making the most of this time. In these 2 weeks, we will only have 10 teams, which is super exclusive. But these 10 teams will get absolute tactical support from our side, which is to say, what is the campaign you are executing? Is this going well or not? What we are going to teach there actually by doing is how to run week-long campaigns. So Keone tweets every week, what did you get done this week? The thought behind that, which came from Elon Musk, is in his companies, everyone reports what they got done this week. Every campaign, every product feature that you ship should not take more than a week. If you are planning too much, if you're thinking too much, most likely it's too late to ship what you're doing. Velocity matters, like you said. And I think one of our founders tweeted this as well. Velocity is culture. It's actually culture in Monad already. Now we want to make sure that all our founders, community members, everyone adopts this. So in these 2 weeks, essentially, these founders will know how to ship something in that week and make sure that it absolutely goes out that week. And it's going to be super intense. Some of the founders found this last week intense, I think this is going to be a lot more intense. That, hey, it's almost like you are locked in a house and you have to now focus on things that matter. They are going to be hard, but if you do that, if a founder really does that well, I think the chances of them raising a seed round are significantly higher. And one of the founders here posted a video, and he said this week was like 6 months in normal time. Network school residency is going to be like a year in 2 weeks. We are going to just squeeze everything. But if you end up doing good work there, then I think there's a lot of progress to be made.
Yeah, it's certainly something that's like competitive by nature, and it should be, but simultaneously, I don't think it should be daunting if you're a founder or you're a team that is considering applying to the founder residency, because like it's kind of just filtering for the things that make strong founders and make strong companies to begin with. So if you're serious, if you're doing the right things, if you're if you have conviction and you're out there executing, shipping every day, then founder residency is the place for you. You'll get access to so many great resources, from growth and marketing and campaign support to VCs present on site, to simply just locking in with a group of like-minded builders and founders on a private island in beautiful Malaysia, with tons of great resources and amenities, both to help with the velocity of shipping, some great work environments, but also some great amenities as well on the
Brand Johnson's
beach.
food, like Brand Johnson's Don't Die Blueprint food is what they serve there. So maybe it extends your life a little bit.
Yeah, maybe the 2 weeks might be a little intense, little stressful, but at least you're healthy and in a good spot along the way.
As long as you're shipping, that's all we are asking for. You don't need to be scared about this. Maybe a little scared, but essentially, if you're someone who's constantly shipping, then you have nothing to worry about. What we will do is we will bring you focus. So if you are a laser, we will tell you where to point it. So VCs cut checks for you.
Exactly. Absolutely love it. And I'm certainly looking forward to seeing all the learnings and happenings at the residency school. The applications will be opening pretty soon. I think this is all alpha.
In a few hours.
Yeah, the tweet should be going out today. Very excited to see those applications rolling in. If you are tuning in and you're not a founder, maybe not actively working on a project, maybe send the application, send the tweet to somebody who you'd like to see at the network school and that you think could benefit from the founder residency.
Yeah, as a community member, you've tried out so many apps today. You must be bullish on one or two of them. You make sure that you tag those founders, you send it to them and say, hey, go there because this is a product that you love and you want to use on Monad. So this is a chance to make sure that they go to 1 million other users, and that's when you will be able to call yourself an early adopter, right? Anyone who used Polymarket back in the day is now an early adopter. So which of the Monad products, or maybe even outside. So one of the things, that I forgot to mention is this is open for every founder building on every chain. At Monad, we are not crazy tribal here. We are looking to support the best founders, even if they have not deployed on Monad right now. So if you like any product, any founder from other ecosystems, tag them, send it to them. Make sure that they know that there is an opportunity. We want to make sure that the space progresses, not just the founders that we are working with, but we want to make sure that someday you are able to tell your family and everyone around you that, hey, these are the 10 products that you can try, and now you know why I work in this industry, which would be a cool outcome for everyone.
I agree. It would
That's
be
huge.
It would be super nice to be able to explain to my friends and family what the heck we are up to over here in
I get that question pretty often from my mom. She goes, Kevin, what the heck are you up to?
I
I
work
go,
at Bitcoin.
you ever heard of Circle, Mom?
Yeah.
You know, stablecoins, Polymarket, the election predictor.
He's
I was
"No."
like, do you trade U.S. equity perps on Ostium? She's like, all right, now I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Well, Perrine, this has been awesome having you on. We'll have to run it back soon. If you're on in the chat, look out for that announcement for the founder residency and tag a founder in the tweet replies
Yeah.
that you want to see, level up. If you
From
believe
any
in
chain.
any chain,
from
any
any chain,
any
any founder.
product, any builder. We're looking for people that ship fast, that ship seriously, and are looking to play this long-term game. No shortcuts, right?
Yep.
Beautiful.
Awesome. Thanks for
again,
having me.
Perrine.
Thanks,
Absolutely.
Perrine.
Appreciate it. Let's run it back soon. We have our
You want to
next
finish out the
guest.
push-ups for me?
I'm so glad I'm not on that table because I wouldn't be able to do maybe 10.
Bye, Preet. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Perrine. We have our next guest teed up. This is not her first time on the show, nor is it her last time on the show, but it is her first time in person, live from New York for Mint Conditions. Please welcome Karma.
Ka-chow.
No worries. So grab. Wow.
Oh, a dress with pockets.
Wow.
That is what
are
we're
you,
talking
what
about.
do you got there to sip on?
Whenever I am at the office, I get addicted to all the energy drinks, and I'm like a Duracell bunny, like completely buzzed up. So this is one I haven't tried yet, Zoa.
All right.
I will give my review live.
All right. I look forward to it. Karma, it's great to have you here in person, no less.
A staple of the show. Maybe the staple of the show.
It is a pleasure. It's actually the first time I'm seeing this room in person. It looks so much bigger live. It's insane. Just like having just watched it online, like I imagined it completely differently. So when
really?
I walked in, I was like, oh my God.
Yeah,
In a good way or a bad way?
No, a good way. A good way.
Cool.
I wish we had a camera that we could like pick up and move around. I know we can't because it's all set up, but we'll show you the set one day. Maybe a tweet. Maybe tweet it from Pipeline, Danny. Just a picture of the.
Yeah, we did get some behind the scenes footage last week that I think we could
And I did post on Instagram and TikTok a walkthrough of this.
Gotcha.
heck yeah. Go follow Dress Up 11 for your behind the scenes walkthrough. Karma, what brought you out to New York?
Yes, so I'm here for permissionless, but more importantly for NFT NYC, which I don't want to seem like a downer, but was actually an immense letdown this year.
I saw your tweet yesterday, Karma. What happened over there?
Yeah, so I think many people who love NFTs have at some point made it to NFT NYC if they are not on the other side of the globe. And like 22, 23, like that was such an immensely huge conference. I remember the very first time I came here, I actually had to wait almost 2 hours in line just to get my conference badge, just to get in. So those days are long gone, I do have to say. And I always knew that it's going to be much smaller this year. Like, the NFTs are nowhere near the, hypes and hype years. However, it was just depressing. I think the organizers should have realized just by the amount of tickets that were sold that it's time to downsize it and maybe turn it into a more industry inward focused smaller event that also allows more artists to feature their work in high quality conditions versus it's just still at Times Square at a Marriott hotel held across two completely unconnected floors. It was just, the vibe was not it, to be honest. And I do not want to, be too negative about it, but I think just speaking about it out loud is really important for us to improve and have some more high quality industry events, because this was just embarrassing.
I think you make some interesting points, which I think kind of reflects more on the state of NFTs as a whole, rather than the specific conference or event, which obviously everyone knows. All you have to do is go pull up OpenSea or Magic Eden, and you're probably aware without even doing that prices floors aren't where they were at a couple years ago. There's definitely much less demand for NFTs overall. And I wonder if part of that is specifically because, you know, the event is like geared towards NFTs specifically. Like if you're trying to, I guess, like force this technology standard, for lack of a better word, like, wouldn't it be better to do like an art exposition, or, you know, something that's more about like what the actual content is, in the NFTs, rather than like NFTs themselves? Because I think that is probably where NFT adoption is going. It's not about like, oh, our NFTs as a quote unquote asset class ripping. But it's more about like who is using the NFT standard to do cool things with digital products, digital goods, digital services. But you spend a lot more time thinking about NFTs than I do, so I'm curious how you think about that.
Oh geez, like I could yap about this for hours. I promise I won't. But maybe I will split sort of like what you just said into two parts. Like the part one is, you know, what has changed since the highs, like 2021, 2022. And then the second one is like, where do we go from there? And I think when it comes to like the volumes and just the sheer interest in NFTs, like we just need to look at the problem head on. Like it's down like 95% from its peaks. I'm talking trading volumes. I'm talking like total, you know, volume expressed in dollars. And that's fine. I think that like immense hype of 2021, 2022 was a perfect storm of like COVID, stimmies, and very few chains that made it incredibly easy to concentrate all the attention and just, you know, drive these immense hypes. Completely new asset class, very constrained to, you know, where you could actually invest in it. Now that we have so many other chains, the liquidity, the interest, the talent is spread across so thin, we are never going back to those levels. Note, I'm not saying no PFP NFT collection can be successful anymore. There will be absolute outliers, but as an asset class, it will never go back to everything goes up meta that people are calling for. There is no NFT season coming, in the same sense of the word. And now where do we go from there? Like, yeah, I do believe that NFTs completely changed the game in terms of like digital assets. It's just that we conflate NFTs with PFPs in our heads because that's what we are used to. So that is definitely not what is going to completely drastically change the world. I love them. I love NFTs. I think PFPs have their place in the digital identity sector, but I just don't think they are going to be the only vertical that like drives us forward. And to now give maybe a more like tangible example of something that's like, you know, a bit more product market fit and fresh. Yeah, I think a very interesting project I've been looking at closely is Courtyard. They are on Polygon and they digitize different collector cards, most notably like Pokemon collector cards. And their volume has been so steady and so incredibly consistent since they launched. And they have like a very, very passionate, you know, like collector and user base that most of them haven't even touched crypto before. When you go on the Reddit, it's actually very interesting. Like people like, you know, excited about my cards, but I feel conflated about crypto. It's a really, really interesting case study. And I think those types of things, we will see them more and more. There's just so many like natural product market fits when it comes to like digital sort of like collectibles other than just PFPs. Okay, I spoke for a long time. Sorry.
No, I think that was
fantastic.
It was a pretty spot on take.
I think we have two things that we definitely need to get to. One, we got to spin that wheel.
Yes.
And two, the first ever in-person mint conditions.
Yes.
I think we probably go in that order. Probably serial sequencing. Daniel?
Okay, so
I
erase
have here-
the push-up thing. I tried erasing that. We don't need to double up on push-ups.
I think maybe just leave
that's
it
just
in
a
there.
respin. Push up equals respin.
And the
Let's
push-ups.
see. This is probably a good spot for it. Karma, do you have any good trivia for us today?
Oh
Or
my God.
however you want to pick a winner.
Hmm. my God, guys. Every single time I come on, I should be prepared, and every single time I am not. Karma does not learn. Make Karma finish the push-ups. I mean, what?
No, that's
what
not-
have I
that's
done
not
to
fair.
you?
I have a
That seems
trivia.
fair.
I have a trivia item. If you want me to go for it.
Yeah, you always save me. Thank you. Please go.
Okay, so this is not going to be particularly challenging, but it is important and it is a little bit technical. So
I'm
if you
participating.
understand how you can't participate,
I'm going to.
It's okay. Well, this is going to be a pretty short-lived trivia. You got a front run intern. What aspect of the Monad protocol, what unique innovation that Monad introduces to the EVM is responsible for solving the tail forking problem?
Ooh, good one.
And I like this because not a lot of people seem to know about tail forking as important as it is. Monkey DeLuffy.
Danny, so
I posted Monad BFT before you even said the question.
Did he?
Yeah. You go, what innovation Jessup just sends Monad BFT in?
Oh,
And then you actually were talking about tail forking.
All right,
Before
well-
you just were like, I have a question, and I just wrote Monad BFT.
Darn it. Well, Jessup knows I got BFT on the brain. That's fine. I think we still got to give it to Monkey DeLuffy because he was the first one to copy pasta it. So that's technically correct. Goodness knows we're not going to spin for Jessup.
Okay, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, hammer
All right.
it.
Monkey
Okay.
DeLuffy 111. What do we got?
Wait, I don't know myself.
James's car.
Oh, nice.
A
Nice.
solid car.
Nice. Shout out James giving away cars every week. We appreciate you, James.
What's the lore behind that? I'm behind on lore.
So
Yep.
you know, we wanted to, in the early episodes of Monad in the Morning, we wanted to bring this fun spin the wheel up and, you know, make it engaging for our listeners here in the chat, give out some prizes. At that point in time, Testnet Mon was a little bit more scarce, so we were giving out a lot of Testnet Monad prizes on the wheel. And James came on one day as a esteemed guest, and he heavily criticized our prize wheel, saying that it wasn't cool and it wasn't fun, and that we had to add better prizes. And he did not just give us feedback, he helped us implement a new prize, which was his car, which we have now learned over the course of several episodes means a Yayo NFT, which I believe is a Ramelia Corp collection of cars.
Well,
So
I think it originally started because it was a joke that we said we were going to give away his car as a Kia.
Yes.
Oh.
So James came on and was basically like, these prizes suck. Like, what the hell?
Sounds like
Which is like the
James.
most James thing of all time. Like, make the prizes better.
It literally was like, I'm never coming on again until you up the price.
Yeah. And we're like, all right, we got some good prizes. We're gonna give away James's car. And then his hands were tied. It was the perfect corner situation. We're like, all right, well, you're gonna donate then. And he has. I think he has probably donated more to the show in the form of prizes than anyone else.
In the chat said this is the 10th car he's giving away.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it at 7. If anyone can count all of the James's cars that have been given out and put them,
If somebody clips that,
yes,
that's well, you
like
get a
every
spin.
wheel spin, James's car.
Yeah, you get a spin for sure. Yes.
We might put you on the wheel if you do that clip. That's an insane clip.
speaking of clipping, we've had every week we get more and more great clips from Monad in the Morning, clipped and posted by the community. Bender's been crushing, Mel's been crushing, Yassie's been crushing, many others. So if you're tuning in on Monad in the Morning and you like a 30-second segment, a minute-long segment, you want to share it with others, clip it. Maybe put a little polish on it in CapCut. Post it on the timeline. We'd love to see it.
You'll probably
love
get quote
amplifying.
tweeted.
Yeah, love
by the
amplifying good clips. We've reposted some recently off the Monad dev account, some of the more technical clips, but love to see it. Think it's a great opportunity for those looking to grow their account, grow their following. Actually, Tunes tweeted about this yesterday, which is basically that when all this attention comes in around mainnet, Monad community members have a huge opportunity to, position themselves as mindshare leaders, as thought leaders in the Monad ecosystem, because this goes into one of Perrine's points, like you are early power users in the Monad ecosystem. So you know which apps you love, which experiences are the smoothest, the snappiest, the most fun. So take advantage of that opportunity.
And we know as hosts what you guys love. And without a doubt, it's mint conditions. I think it's time to hop over, and I don't know how this is going to work in person, but I assume you guys have figured it out ahead of the show. So let's get right into it.
Do you have a presentation?
No
Okay.
presentation. This is just Karma staring into the camera and blinking and telling you about what is happening in the NFT world. Oh yeah. Also, like Karma usually stars into the wrong camera, but I'm basically just gonna like give you an update on a few things I find really interesting. And like the major one, like because we've already spoken about the NFT NYC, is actually the dev mission. So we currently have a NFT dev mission live. Now, what the hell is a dev mission? Maybe for some of you, non-devs and alike. Well, every couple of weeks, a new mission goes live in the Monad Dev Discord, and you can win different prizes, most notably, of course, Testnet Mon in the thousands. But it's also a fantastic way of just trying out building different things. And as of Monday, we started an NFT mission. It's called Make NFTs Great Again. And there are 2 tracks. So one is basically like innovative like collection mechanics. Think, evolving collections, like, evolving metadata, just different ways in which you can take a PFP or even an art collection to the next level. And then the second track is more about solving the problems that NFT space faces. And I actually tweeted like a long list of problems. If you don't have an idea on what to build, solving one of those problems is a great way to start. And those problems are range from people forget what they are whitelisted for, or they miss whitelists because they happen at 2 a.m. their time. Maybe there is a way of building a contract that allows you to pre-spend or even pre-approve a transaction, so that you don't actually have to wake up at 2 a.m. Like, why haven't we solved this already? Or just to throw out some ideas, I think one of the biggest problems is still that the public stages of mints get botted. And public stages are insanely important for people to have more, equitable access to a particular collection. So I think there are so many fun ways in which you can gate and make sure that bots don't actually access a collection. That's like, honestly, like, I think that would be the funniest part of this mission. And my dream for the future is one day we will organize a mini hackathon, which is only like make a mint access as funny and as like human friendly as possible. But that's maybe for the future. And then like other problems can involve just access to the tooling for people who do not code. So how does an artist generate metadata? How does an artist actually generate a collection out of traits? There's so many things you can build that would really help, and I'm truly excited for it. In fact, I've recently gotten into vibe coding myself, and I think as soon as I'm home next week, I'm flying back on Friday, I'm actually gonna vibe code an app for the dev mission myself. Obviously, I'm exempt from prizes, but I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah, so if you haven't checked it out yet, even if you're not a dev, just check the dev Discord. You can actually help by joining one of the devs. If they need, for example, an artist or a designer, you can actually help and like dip your toes into building for the first time. Great opportunity. And quite frankly, I think that is the most important thing I want everybody to know about the NFT space as of today. And tomorrow at 10 a.m. EST, we will be going live for NFT spaces with some of our devs on the team and with some devs that are already building for the mission. So we'll be talking all the things that they've already started on and how can we make them better. So like a live feedback session of what is being built.
Awesome. Yeah. The DevNads community is always cooking, but particularly excited for this mission. See what they cook on the NFT front. I also think it would be interesting because we're talking about feedback and advice a little bit. For those who are perhaps a founder of an NFT collection in the Monad ecosystem, or someone who's contributing to a NFT project as an artist, as a community contributor, managing socials, anything in between, what advice would you give to founders and teams building on Monad in the NFT space to ensure that these projects do have longevity and get attention and build up sustainable community?
Yeah. Oh boy. Yeah. Honestly, the NFT space is like so much more complex than people realize when you actually look into it. But if I were to limit myself to maybe 3 pieces of advice, which I will speed run here. So if I'm imagining myself in the shoes of someone building an NFT collection right now on Monad testnet, there's 3 things I would be doing. First, I would be making sure that any types of experiences you want to provide to your holders, and this experience can be the mint itself, this can be a fun raffle, whatever it is that you want to be doing on mainnet, now is the time to test it. This is testnet. This is what it's for. People are not going to be angry at you if something doesn't work. I mean, they will bitch a little, but they will get over it. It's testnet. You are not actually risking anybody's real money, which is what people get really angry about. So if you aren't testing what it is that you actually want to build, you are missing out majorly, and it is going to come back to bite you in the ass. So do that. Second, I would be networking like crazy. I think every single one of you building an NFT collection right now on Monad testnet has an immense advantage because this is such a vibrant ecosystem. We have more apps, more ideas, more founders building on testnet than some ecosystems have on mainnet. And everybody is still very accessible. Everybody can be reached. Everybody's just like, maybe 2 DMs away. Or maybe like, you DM a friend and then they DM a friend. Everybody's reachable except for Keone. Do not DM Keone. And you have an opportunity to be like, hey, actually, my users or like my holders on testnet, my fans, they really love, let's say, I don't know, a priori or this or that DEX. We are such active users, and you can check it on chain. You don't even have to do on-chain analysis yourself. You can just go to NAD Radar. They just launched NFT analytics. You can check which protocols each holders of each NFT collection on testnet are the most, active users of. Insane, insight. And then you approach those protocols and you're like, my users like really love this protocol. Why don't we run a campaign together? And you just run a campaign. Like you don't need to box yourself in to just other NFT protocols as your partners. Every single project building on Monad wants active users. As an NFT project, your users, your community building is your product. So use it, get those people to test really fun apps. Then maybe you get a kickback. Maybe you can figure out a fun partnership down the line. Wink, wink. And then the third piece of advice is definitely think long term. Like I see many founders just thinking, oh my God, I just need to get to mint. Like the mint is not the finish line. Just like the Monad mainnet launch is not the finish line. It's just the start. Like that's when the gun goes off and we actually start the actual marathon. So definitely plan long term. Otherwise, you are going to, fizzle out pretty quickly.
Yeah, it's great advice. I think focusing on a unique brand is also really important, and a brand that reflects the vibe and the sentiment of the community that you're trying to curate. And I think it's pretty easy to look at the visual branding of the Monad community, a lot of purple, a lot of amazing artists, and create something that's very in line with that existing brand. And it's logical that you would think to create that, but simultaneously it's going to be very hard to stand out. And I know you've commented on this a lot historically, so I won't dwell on it too much, but I think having a unique brand that embodies the vibe of your community, for lack of a better word, is really important, and not trying to create something that's for everybody, but really trying to deliver a great experience for a specific group of people. And that experience can be very simple. A lot of the most successful NFT projects are just like, the experience is a group chat, and you
Yeah.
just hang out with cool people that are like-minded in some capacity, and you connect with them. And then the art reflects that community, that brand, that vibe to a degree. So I would challenge NFT founders, contributors, artists in the Monad ecosystem to think about, how can you cultivate something unique? It's just like, what was his Twitter name? The guy who's wearing all the costumes, Vikru. Yeah, Vikru, and all the cosplay. It's like, that is unique, so it stands out. Now, don't go copy Vikru, but he's doing his thing. It's not for everybody. It's for, a group of people that resonates with. So
Absolutely one of my favorite Twitter accounts. He's absolutely insane in the positive sense of the word. If you haven't looked at Vikru cosplays, do it now. Do it now.
Prior to Monad, what did your involvement in the NFT space look like? Not professionally, but as like a participant.
Ooh, so this is actually funny. And I have always been known in all communities as the bag holder. But the reason why I want to expand on it is basically like, I feel like for majority of people participating in the NFT space, it's very much trading based, or trading is usually like the big top of the funnel, and that's how you enter it. For me, it was much more, I just identified with the community so hard that, I would want to join them but never leave. I would form such a strong attachment to whichever PFP I bought, whichever artwork I bought, that I genuinely just like couldn't bring myself to sell. So that was, you can imagine how the state of my portfolio looked throughout 2021, etc. It's all fun and good to be a collector when everything is going up. It's not quite as fun when everything is going down. But yeah, it just like really hooked me onto this, like these pockets of internet communities, and I just haven't emerged since. But on like zooming out a bit more, like I actually started on Cosmos, so I sort of like made my way into EVM through like the early Terra days, and that was a wild ride of its own. But here we are.
I can share some similar sentiment, I think, which is, related to some of the early conviction and excitement that I had for Monad. And that is, NFTs were a large part of my crypto onboard in particular. I was seeing Gary Vee and Banks and a bunch of other people that I followed in more like mainstream social media start to talk about these NFT things. I remember videos from Gary Vee in late 2020 where he was like, basically sharing similar sentiment to a lot of what people are saying about AI now. And that's like, if you sleep on this opportunity, if you don't go like research what NFTs are, then, you're going to miss out, because these things are going to be all over the place in, maybe a couple months or a year. So that kind of resonated with me. And I was like, oh, I got to look into this. But it really took NFTs going pretty mainstream for me to really pay attention and to start to try and figure out the on-chain side of things. And, by that point, there was a good amount of activity on Ethereum. Bored Apes had already minted. But floor prices weren't crazy, at least in terms of what they would become in 2021. But it still felt kind of crazy, right? Like Bored Apes August 2021 were I think they hit 1 ETH floor for the first time, and that to me was like crazy that you could have minted this thing for $50 or $100, and all of a sudden it's worth like 4 or 5 grand. So I heard about some upcoming Solana mints, and actually intern was told me about the Degen Apes mint.
Ka-chow.
Got it. The Degen Apes bada bing mint on Solana. And so I started checking out some Solana NFTs at first. So got a Phantom wallet. I actually didn't mint Degen Apes, but I wanted to mint, some of those upcoming projects that we're minting after the Degen Apes. But all this goes to say basically, like, my first NFT on board was the UX of Solana. So it was fast, it was cheap, gas cost was low, and certainly it was a friction-filled experience at the core. But going backwards from Solana to Ethereum and spending $200-300 of gas on a mint, and experiencing MetaMask for the first time as a user, just kind of showed the opportunity of, or like showed me very clearly where UX in crypto is going. So when I heard about Monad, it was like, this is the missing piece, actually, because EVM doesn't have this snappy UX, this highly performant layer that exists in a decentralized manner as well. So it was kind of that journey that made it so easy for me to get excited about Monad when I heard about it in late 2022, early 2023. So, fast forward a couple years later now, definitely excited for NFTs on Monad. And I know there's a lot of great contributors working very hard to make that a reality.
Yeah, honestly, like the threshold of entry has never been lower. Now that so many tools exist that allow you to mint, generate NFTs, and we're bringing more and more of them even to Monad testnet. But back in the day, like, to launch an NFT collection, it was actually like quite a bit of work and workarounds to actually launch the token. But I actually have a fun story. I remember the very first time I was shown MetaMask. And the person who was showing me the MetaMask and like how to sign transactions, etc., I think it was a day of like an insane gas spike. And they were showing me Uniswap, and they were trying to make a swap, and we were quoted like $50 for the, we were trying to swap like $5 worth of something. And the quote for the fee was $50. And I remember, and that person was a long-term friend. And I remember thinking to myself, like, someone pays that? I was like, those people are mentally ill. And I remember then like just abandoning the idea of getting into crypto for like a few weeks and then coming back to it a few weeks later. So like it just shocked me so hard. And obviously the fees have come down significantly ever since. But I just remember how counterintuitive it was for a newcomer back then. And luckily we are now in a very, very different mindset on EVM in general, like trying to make it so performant that, we generally can onboard thousands, millions of people. Yeah, but I always think back to that moment, like seeing that pop up with the fee quote.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. One of the projects as well that was minted, at least in this era that we're talking about, still kicking around today, and very, very friendly with the Monad community, Monad ecosystem, is Sappy Seals. I don't know how much, if at all, we can share about what Sappy Seals are cooking for Monad. At the very least, we can leave it as a nice shout out for the Seal community.
Yes, actually, like, very, very good shout out. Like, the past week we ran the Purple Pass, which I didn't even mention here. Wow. Wake up, karma. So we run a Purple Pass, which is basically a personal invitation for the Seals community to come and try out Monad testnet if they haven't already, and you can still claim it. So what we did was we airdropped to all the Sappy Seal holders a very special soulbound NFT drawn by Lilia from our community. Like, she's an incredible artist. Very happy to have worked with her on that. And if you have that cellbound token in your wallet, you can then come to the Purple Pass website and claim 100 MON for it. Now you can only claim 50 because every single week the rewards halve by 50%. This was to introduce urgency. Otherwise, you degens will never do anything. I know you. I'm one of them. But yeah, it was a personal invitation, and I think what was interesting to me was to see the conversion, which was like over 20% of all holders claimed, which for any type of NFT-based activation is incredibly high, especially for an NFT that has been around as long as Sappy Seals, where
Sure.
so many wallets are completely dormant and you only have 4,500 holders. So yeah, I would consider it a huge success. It was a really, really fun activation, and let's see if we run it again with other collections.
We'll see. Stay tuned. Very, very exciting stuff for the Seal community, the Monad community. I know there's a lot of awesome overlap there for sure. I don't know if anyone else wants to share some NFT stories, NFT lore, or if we have more mint conditions to chat through.
No, I would be interested what your first mint was ever, Kevin.
I think the first one that like pilled me into NFTs was the Degen Apes.
That was a big one. Yeah.
I spent so long. I stayed in all Friday night. At that point, I was like, I won't get into the story, but I like stayed in all Friday night waiting because it kept breaking. And then they're like, you know what? We're going to do it tomorrow. I was like, all right, well, I just threw a Friday night out the window. I was visiting people who I didn't know very well that I really wanted to like me. And I had to sit in the bathroom and pretend that I had stomach issues so I could try to mint this thing. And it took like an hour, and eventually I couldn't sit in there anymore. So I went out of the bathroom and like snuck off and went upstairs, and then finally went for the mint. I was not very lucky in the mint itself, but then I think I posted about them so much and was super disappointed that like a couple people sent me them when they weren't expensive at the time. It was like a couple soul. And then they just went berserk, like up to like thousands, tens of thousands of dollars. Like, I should probably give these people them back or something. Like, this is outrageous now. But yeah, after that point, I was hooked. I remember like I was literally, or at that point, I wasn't an intern anymore, but I was the most junior person at CMS by far. And they had me making content calendars to share with the entire firm of when the mints were, so no one would miss them. We were just minting for like months straight. It was insane.
So Solana was your first mints then?
No, so Ethereum was my first mints, but nothing of note, right? There were like hash masks and some like random ones in like February, March of 21. But the Solana ones were the first time I was like minting. I was like going in, like telling all my friends. I was at Danny's apartment actually for that Friday for Degen Apes. And I was like, you guys got to mint this. They're like, what the hell is Solana? I'm like, get on here now. So downloaded.
And I was away.
Danny was away.
I was visiting.
He came back Sunday and everyone was like, oh my God. And he's like, what?
Yeah, I was visiting the future Mrs. Pipelines at the time. And I got home on Sunday and all my roommates were like, we had the craziest weekend. I was like, oh, what did you guys do? Did you go out or something? They're like, no, we didn't go out. Like Kevin came over. We minted these Degen Apes. Like someone got an ice ape and now it's worth like 10 grand. And I was like, I don't understand any of the words that you just said, but I am in. When is the next mint?
My favorite story. So the mint happened Saturday. I met up with everyone after the mint. We were all hanging out, had a beer. We're talking about it. We're like, this is nuts. And we're like, I think these are going to go a lot higher. And one of my friends at the time, we were all like just graduated, entry-level jobs. And so no one really had any money. And my friend went and like deposited more money and bought this McDonald's ape. And he called me. So he did this on Sunday. He called me on Monday and was like, dude, I'm kind of freaking out. Like I basically put my life savings into this McDonald's ape. Like, what do you think? And I was like,
made for this.
I was like,
what do you think?
I was like, I mean, the thesis remains the same. Like, we think these are really good NFTs. We think that they're going to do well. The McDonald's one's super rare. There's only 4 of them. And then he called me, I want to say 10 days later. And he goes, dude, I just sold it for like $70,000. And like, that was like his salary at the time. I was like, oh my God, like this is going to go berserk. And then it went berserk for like whatever, 3 months. NFTs just took over everything.
So was that before or after Breakpoint? Because I met you at
Before.
Breakpoint.
Before Breakpoint.
Is
This is, I believe, the middle of August
So it's right
in 21.
yeah,
Breakpoint was
couple-
November.
Yeah, so it was a couple months before Breakpoint.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And from then on, it was like everyone started buying Soul so they could participate in these mints because the NFTs seemed to just be up only. And then Soul started going up only. And it just created this ridiculous flywheel. That was the craziest time I've ever experienced in crypto, like without a doubt, I think.
Yeah, I think for all of us, to be honest, like back then, whichever collection, it didn't really matter what the art was, who the founders were, like just whoever could get to the mint as next. The flywheel was going full swing by then. So it just, yeah, propelled everything up to different degrees, of course, but main trajectory remained the same.
It was still treacherous waters though. It wasn't like it wasn't free money. I lost a lot of money.
I lost way more on it than I made, for sure.
Definitely. But yeah, you live and you learn, and it was definitely a good time. And yeah, the emotional resonance of the JPEGs, especially at that time, was just crazy. Like it was impossible to pass them up. Like
Yeah, and I remember like the DAO word just took over all the NFTs as the next sort of like meta, where every single NFT collection was just announcing that they're doing a DAO, which basically just meant, you know, like it was just a gated
Group
Discord
chat.
server. Yeah, it was nothing different to what we're doing now, but the concept of a DAO, of like decentralized organization when you can contribute with people you've never met in your life, was just so novel, and it genuinely felt like you were doing something special, that yeah, people just went crazy for it. And I remember the first NFT I got obsessed with back then. Traits just meant so much more than I feel they do now. They are like, all the NFTs are much more interchangeable now. Like back then, owning a very particular trait was a status symbol. And I remember I was completely obsessed with a Solana monkey business, and they have it's not called a halo for Solana monkey business. It's called I think like head ring or something like that. And I wanted one so bad, but they were always so expensive. And eventually, like I like sold like half of my portfolio, and I just like dumped it all into the Solana monkey business with an angel ring. That's what it's called, the trade, angel ring. I just remember the feeling of accomplishment was like bigger than when I graduated. It was incredible.
that's pretty true though. Hey, you get it's probably more rare than a degree at the end of the day.
Yeah, and it's in my wallet until now.
There you go.
Still have it?
I still have it.
Hodling. Yeah, it's interesting for NFTs. I'm definitely excited for Monad Mainnet. I know there's been projects and communities that have been cooking for years at this point, and there's a lot of strength there. So yeah, definitely encourage those to take advantage of the additional time during the testnet phase, but also, you know, think pretty seriously about branding and you know, distribution and community building post mainnet as well.
Yeah, and if you have any questions, like it's not always easy to get into like DMs for any of us, because you know, there's hundreds of teams trying to do that. But the spaces Fridays 10 a.m. EST are like, think of them almost like an NFT office hours of Monad ecosystem. Like we genuinely have like founders, new projects coming on every single week. I just admit everybody to on stage. If you request to speak, you will get a chance to chat, and you know, we can unpack whichever questions you have and then connect in DMs after.
It's a beautiful thing. Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern. Speaking of spaces, I think Cryptunes is going to run his space right after the show today as normal. So if you're looking for more Monad content, more Monad fun, go hop in Tunes' space. Starts in 15 minutes, I think.
It's like the afters for Mana in the morning. But you
Yeah.
go to Mana in the morning, that's a big thing. And it's like, if you want to go to afters, you can go to Tunes' space.
Just a little punch down there. Sorry, Tunes.
I mean, he's more than welcome to come on the Monad in the morning at any point.
I would love to see Tunes come on Monad in the morning at every single point. There is one issue, though. He won't.
Yeah.
That's the only issue. If you want to see Tunes on Mon in the morning, make sure you tell him, say he's a coward for not doxing, say the shiesty would be completely fine, and just genuinely give him a hard time.
We can, however, bring up NFT founders and founders of other types of projects and protocols. So if you are a founder or if you're a contributor on a cool team or a cool project, drop us a DM on the pipeline and maybe we'll have you on the show. My question in response to your outreach is probably going to be, what do you want to talk about? We'd love to hear cool stories, fun anecdotes, plans for the future, and anything in between. So hit us up.
And, tag somebody that you want to see on here too. That's always get their attention to be on here. So
yeah, exactly. Karma, any other mint conditions to report for the day?
Not really, but there is something I always wanted to do live and to feel like a true influencer, guys. And it's like tapping long nails on a can of something in front of a mic. So I am fulfilling, truly selfishly right now, a bucket list item. Okay, well, it doesn't feel as special.
You got to
as I thought.
whisper right before.
Oh,
Yeah, it's the ASMR that people are waiting for.
Okay, this is a live Karma ASMR of tapping on a can of Zoa strawberry watermelon. Yeah, it doesn't feel as special as I thought it would.
Somebody clip that. Somebody definitely is going to clip that.
Oh, yeah.
Please don't.
Probably going to be the most watched moment of this episode.
Oh, thank you so much, guys. Like, it was honestly so special to do this in person. I am usually based in Europe, so whenever I come and actually get to meet everybody IRL, it's just beyond anything I've imagined. So thank you for having me.
Thanks for being here. Always a pleasure to run Mint Conditions. The utmost pleasure this week to have the opportunity to do it in person. This was an awesome rendition of Monad in the morning. So if you've been watching the whole time, thanks for sticking with us. Every Thursday, 10 a.m., we come on and we yap about all things Monad and sometimes crypto more broadly. So thanks for hanging with us. Next Thursday, 10 a.m., we will be back as always. A lot of exciting updates in the community, in the ecosystem, and on the developer side as well. We chug closer and closer to mainnet each week. So thanks to Karma for joining us today. Thanks also to Perrine for coming on, sharing some recaps from the Foundry, some tidbits of alpha for the Founder Residency Network School, which announcement coming up soon.
Woo.
Follow along. Intern, what do you got?
I was just going to say thanks. Perrine just came on as a guru and just started sharing founder wisdom. You don't really get to hear that for free that often. So
definitely not. Shout out Perrine, shout out Karma as well. We'll have to get, we're definitely going to run back Mint Conditions soon. We'll have to get Perrine back on soon as well.
You want to spin the wheel on the way out?
Let's spin the wheel
I'll
on
do
the way
push-ups while
let's go. We need
put it on her side.
We need to see the push-ups. We need to. It's Nacho. I'm not going to unmute you. You know the rules. I will not unmute. What are we gonna do? We got some trivia.
Oh yeah, we gotta pick our winner. Well,
I'm trying to think of like an early 2000s movie reference because I did not make any early 2000s movie references yet, and I want to keep my composure and streak. There we go. Jessup is not bald. What do you think, Danny? Danny, any movie?
Okay.
Oh wait, I have one.
take it away.
Sorry.
No apology.
We are
Is it Troy?
going. It is not Troy. That one maybe is a little too niche for the audience. This one, many people could get. We're gonna go with Goblet of Fire. Shout out Jessup. Goblet of Fire. One. What was the name of the thing that Harry Potter took that let him breathe underwater? Second part.
Oh.
Who gave it to him?
That's the second part is kind of a trick question.
Dude, it is hard because I don't want to fall off this.
Don't fall off the table,
It's
Jessup.
slippery.
Oh, well, you need both parts. You need both parts in one answer because I can't tell. They're saying very strong, very strong, very strong.
I have no idea how many of that.
This person's name is Liber Potter.
Chat, how many push-ups do I have left?
Jessup, I think you're off the hook.
Oh, Daddy Abe was close.
Not Dobby though, right?
It was not Dobby. This isn't a trick question on who gave it to him. It was not Dobby.
It kind of is a trick question though.
It's not. Who handed it to him?
Oh, well, that's kind of a trick question as well.
There you go.
Yeah, here.
Drakey Netta.
Yep.
Drakey Netta got it. It was Gillyweed and Neville Longbottom gave it to him. Jessup, let's.
So yeah, I
No
forgot.
tricks.
So
He-
I thought it was Mad Eye Moody, who was
Well-
really Barty Crouch Jr., who gave it to him. But
No,
he
he
gave it to
gave it to Neville.
Yeah.
And so in the actual scene, Harry's sitting there, and it's a few hours before the second part of the Triwizard Tournament, which was actually 4 wizards this time around. Who put his name in a Goblet of Fire? We may never know. And Neville comes up and he's like talking about herbology, and Harry's like, unless you have some Tunisian turnip, which will let me breathe underwater. And he goes, well, I don't know about a turnip. You could always use gillyweed.
Shout out Neville.
There we go. Spin that wheel, Karma.
And it's what is PSP lever?
Oh, so PSP is levers XP or points on the Monad testnet. So you will get some PSP, so you can go use the Lever app, lever.bet live on the Monad testnet. That's a great prize to win.
There you go. Thank you for listening to Monad in the Morning.